Hi guys, it's Elizabeth again. I'm over here in my art loft and I'm ready to do my second jelly plate process print. Does that sound right? Anyway, I made some new stencils yesterday and the day before. I made one with circles, which was a real pain because I had to punch some of the holes with a hole punch. I cut some with my X-Acto knife after tracing a punch that I'd punched out with like a 2-inch hole. But that's what my stencil looks like, and I have an idea of where I want to put that one, so I will just get started with that. I'm using, this is Colonial Blue, and you can see that it's a really old bottle of it. I shook it as much as I could today to make sure that it would be a good consistency, but it is an old paint, which is not going to come out the hole, so we're just going to open that baby up and do it the normal way. Well, come out there. There we go. That should be plenty. And we'll roll it out and put our stencil on it and put our piece of paper on it that we want to have this beautiful color on there. But I'm sure you can still get it. Ceramcoat Colonial Blue. Come on, baby. Roll it out. It is a pretty color. Nice smooth color to that. Rolling it off on a piece of paper over here, and I did have a blob on it somewhere, but I guess it's gotten off of it. I like to turn this around. Nope, I don't. Yeah, I do. I've got it on the wrong corner. I like to have I have a corner of this that's a little bit down low, and if I have it in the same place all the time, I remember to put my ink over that corner some. If I don't have it in the same corner, I'm like, where is that guy? Anyway, I always put it in the top left. Yes, top left. That is left. Okay, come on. I didn't get it smooth again. I like it really smooth when I'm working on that. Rolling off my excess paint. And we'll put down my stencil. And looks lovely. Now except there's a little tiny piece of white stuff there that isn't supposed to be that crop. Come on, you. There, it was a little extra piece that I didn't cut out right. I have this print that's already been printed on. It has 2 layers of jelly press plate, but it doesn't look quite beautiful enough for me, so we're going to put the circles on it and see how that works with those little tiny circles. I'm not sure the little tiny circles will work because it might be thick enough that I can't get the paper down into that stencil to touch the jelly plate and pick up that paint, but we'll see. And if the paint's looser, of course, it would be easier to have it picked up from that than if it's a thicker paint. And we didn't get all the little circles, but we got some of them, and that's kind of interesting, hey? And look what it did strange on my plate. It left some little squares. Now that is, I've never had that happen before, but I guess some of the squares in the little circles repelled the paint enough that it went ahead and left those those squares of paint there. I can probably get a ghost print from that on a piece of tracing paper. So we'll just go ahead and do that real quick, and I'll probably get the squares and circles on that. This should be able to get down into the little holes because it's much thinner paper, of course. So we got a lot more dots on this than we did on the other one. I've never had it leave those squares, like repel the paint enough that it left the print from the print. That was kind of strange. And we have kind of definitely a ghost print. But it's kind of interesting. Can you see that? Is it focusing? Yeah, that's right. Okay, put that aside to put something else on. Take our stencil off. And even though the little dots didn't pick up from it, then they are they will have a different consistency on there than the rest of it. So it will, I'm not sure if anything else will pick up from this, so we'll pick that up with another piece of tracing paper. No, let's use regular paper. Regular paper will be good for that. Where the stencil, oh, didn't get it to the edge. Shame on me. Let's see, we'll put this guy. This is my extra sheet of paper that's just going to help me pick up little excess. See, it just got a little tiny bit there. Oh, well, that's interesting. And look what we have left on the plate. Isn't that lovely? That's going to be fun for our next print. So, let's put some ink on that, paint on that. See what we get. What color do we want to use? I think I'm going to use this. No, I think I'll use the gold. I love gold. And this gold works really well. The Ultra Extreme Sheen by DecoArt. Beautiful color. Beautiful gold. That's an interesting leftover stuff on there. See how this works. Roll him out. Let me get that all over. Might need a little bit more. I think it's kind of dry here in my loft today. I don't know, that might work. Got a very thin, nice thin coat on it. And what we want to do is to make sure that the thin coat is even, and then try to pick up the whole of everything that's there by putting our paper down when it's nice and tacky. And then let's get our paper. There we go. Put our paper down when it's nice and tacky, and make sure we press hard so that it will adhere that gold paint to the blue paint under it. And then when we pick it up, we'll have both of them on this one sheet of paper and hopefully have a clean plate. It's the object of the game anyway. Let's see how they worked. It does take a little while to get that print though. You have to wait until that ink can adhere to the other ink. I keep saying ink. Paint can adhere to the other paint. So we just keep rubbing it for a little while. Make sure I get the middle because I keep going like this. And check a corner. And it looks like it did. Look at this. I am liking that. That is pretty. See what I mean about that gold? It gives a color to it, but it also, of course, makes everything shimmer. But look at that. I had no idea that the circles would come out looking like that. That is great. I'm going to make another circle stencil after this one wears out, of course. My other three that I had been using had gotten kind of worn. Let's just change up and make some red bubbles. Let's see how that works. Now you may have still a little bit of a ghost on there, but I think we got most of it off of there, so we might not have that. That looks like a good amount of paint. This is, what is it? Poppy orange. Pretty color. Drying very fast, though, I can tell, because it's not spreading real well. Oh, it's spreading okay. I guess it'll work. It'll work. We're not going to use the bubbles again. Well, no, we could use the bubbles. No, we'll use the squares. Got some clips on there. Made a new square stencil because my other square stencil was not, was kind of tearing up. And I actually took the stencil itself off of the backing, because this is a piece of, it's actually a piece of sticky paper that's attached to a piece of, you know, release paper. And so I took it off of the backing of that. And I'm going to try using just the backing, because I glued the sticky part to a piece of tracing paper. And that came out looking really pretty. I'm going to take the rest of that little ink off the paint off the edge there. If it'll come off. Yep. Where those little holes are there, so they don't get my fingers in them. Okay, so we have just 2 pieces of paper there. Ordinary orange squares. Nothing exciting, but if we take this off, and we'll let that offset onto this piece over here. Okay, so we want to see if that will come up. We'll take another piece of this paper here. I have my paper stacked conveniently, but it doesn't seem to want to pick up whenever I grab it. This is, I'm using this stuff that looks like parchment here, is actually speedball printmaking paper. Now, I picked up, oh, that's kind of nice. Now we're going to put the bubbles over that to see how that works. Not the bubbles onto this, but the bubbles onto that. And we'll have to have a nice color, so we're going to use, this is dark burnt umber. And I'm going to put it down here. Oh, that's kind of loose, but I think it'll work. Just kind of try to get the little, like this, if you have this on your brayer, kind of take that off. Because it's a lump and it could come off on your plate otherwise, and it's not nice on your plate. Doesn't hurt your thumb so much, but it's not very nice on your plate. It's going to be pretty colors. Get that corner. Trying to spread out my paint to an even layer. I can actually see the the poppy colored paint underneath of it. I think that's going to look good. Okay, just a nice hard sheet of paper. I'm going to miss the edge again. There's my little clean them up paper. Oh, shoot. Oh, there it is. Right over on the side, waiting for me. Sometimes these papers that you use just to clean up stuff can actually come out looking interesting. My sister Susie made a junk journal type thing out of hers. I gave her a stack of them, and she's not finished with it yet. When she finishes with it, maybe I'll show it on my YouTube channel, or she might show it. Ooh, do you like brown and orange? There we go. So that picked up most of what was on our plate, and I think it needs a gold layer over the top. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to use our gold sheen, which I just love. And we're going to put bubbles over the top of it. You see how thin that is when you have it just the paint on the plate. When you have another color on there, sometimes it's difficult to judge exactly how thin you have your coat. But you really don't need any more paint than that, because that will show it right up. Okay, so And though that one's still a little bit wet, it might make it easier to pick up the stuff from underneath, the bubbles. So we're going to try the bubbles again. And here they are. Nice and blue from before. Place them like that. And we're going to try to pick it up with this. Our print we just made. Push that down really well. See if we can get any of those little bubbles. I call it bubbles. That's just what I named it because, well, why not? Kind of pressing down with my fingers hard, and it makes it easier for the stuff for it to go down into the things if you have a little pointy stuff like pointy fingers instead of the palm of your hand. I mean, you can press it either way, but you want some little bubbles on this print. And we have some big bubbles. Ooh, I like that. There are some little ones too. You see those, the little ones there? Yeah, showing up. That came out pretty nice. I like that. Now we'll try to get a little bit more off the print with our sheet of paper that has the little blue dots on it. We'll see if we get anything from that. There may not be much come off because we did get a lot of it onto there. Plus the ink may have dried, our paint may have dried by now, so. So let's see if we got any gold. Nope, no gold came off. Well, that's all right. We'll use that to take this off here, this stencil off. And you really can't see that very well, but there is a lot of gold left on there. Nothing came off. That stencil's looking good. Let me put this print here out of the way. I really like that. I'm just letting that gold dry so it'll be a minute. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? See those orange poppy things? They really stand out except for the gold. Did get a little bit of gold, extra gold paint there from a blip. But when you put your finger on it, it kind of makes it look better. I like that. Letting the gold paint dry, and then we put another color over the top of that and pick that up. I think green sounds good to go with the gold this time. So we did the blue. I love blue and gold. This is Jubilee green. It's still a little sticky, but it should work. Looks like a good amount. So we'll roll that out. It's pretty green. Definitely green. Green's not usually one of my favorite colors, but occasionally I like it because it gives a different pop, a different accent to things. Trying to get that even and not too thick. Take a little bit off my brayer, and then it'll take a little bit more off the plate. So what I'm doing to the side is I'm rolling it off onto a piece of paper. It's actually a piece of sticker paper, which I'm going to use in a junk journal or something like that. See, that's what that looks like. A little bit more off, and we'll be perfect. When I'm finishing up here, I roll lightly so that it tried to not make any roller marks on the plate, so that it will look like it's all even. I think I've got 2 sheets of paper here, but that's all right. Okay, so I'll put that down. Yep, 2 sheets. And I missed the edge again. There's my little brown piece of paper. Nothing much there yet. It'll be all right. Cleaning the crumbs off the edge. Very subtle. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me get the light out of your eyes and maybe you can see it better. I wonder why it's giving me little bubbles there too. Okay. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. We'll put something else over the top of that, shall we? Let's roll have a nice dark color. Now I mixed this up because it was too thick before. It's blue velvet, and I hope I don't have it too thin now. Yeah, kind of too thin. I think it's going to bubble up with what I call reticulation. Let's see if we can get a nice even coat or not. That is really thin. It might work. If you have your paint about the consistency of heavy cream, then it's best. If you've got it light like milk, which is what this is sort of like, it's really too thin. But we'll see how it works. We're going to take a little bit off. Just a little. Roll that out again. Smooth it. And let's see, let's use, I'm going to use this other new stencil I made. This one is, call it waveform or wave pattern or whatever you want to call it. And then we'll pick that up on that same green sheet and see what we get. This time I think I'll try to center it better. There we go. Oh, it's leaving interesting things on the plate. You can see it over here in the corner. See that? I don't know about this print. I may have messed it up entirely. But we'll see. All is not lost until it's finished. Ooh, very wet still. I'm going to have to go lay that out to dry. It might be interesting when it's finished, though, because it will have darker spots and lighter spots. And they do change when they dry. I'll be right back. I think I'm going to leave that paint open and let it dry out a little bit. I definitely put too much water in that to thin that. Of course, I get it on me when I do that. Okay, and now for our tissue. Not tissue, tracing paper to pick up the rest of the stuff that's in the little waveforms. Now this will pick up a bunch, I think. What's nice about tracing paper is you can see it's working. Those blued blots are the ones that I put on from the other stencil that we did. Go this way, and there we have ugly blue lines on it. But actually kind of interesting ugly blue lines. That'll be interesting. I like that. When I get some of my squares going, it'll be fine. Now I'm going to take that stencil and I'm going to put it on this piece of paper and see if I can take any off of the stencil onto the paper. Ooh, it even came up through the... That's a mess. Well, not going to use that blue stuff for a while, that's for sure. Come here, you. Take this little brown sheet over here, too. Okay, let's see. Oh, and of course I smudged it, so that's... Well, we weren't married to that red print anyway, so there we go. That's looking kind of not so good. I'm going to need a paper towel and wipe that off, but I'll have to do that later. Well, so much for that stencil for now. Stay there, stencil. Okay, so shall we pick up this and see what goes with it? Use some of this speedball printing paper again. It absorbs the paint really nicely. And my little brown piece of paper to get the edge. Didn't get much off the edge, did it? I think we're coming up to the 30-minute mark, so this will probably end up being 2 videos instead of just 1. Ooh, that's not very nice, but this is looking good. Okay, so I think we're going to go with a light blue now. You really should wait till it dries, but it's pretty dry. Not much coming up from it. I like the plate. The prints we got from it so far are kind of, yeah, but the plate looks kind of interesting. So we're going to use some of this light blue. I think that will come out nice. Okay, so let's just roll a little bit. It's pretty blue. I like blue. I like red. I like purple. Green's all right. But you get so much of it in the summertime that I get a little tired of it. But I'd rather it be summer than winter, so I don't know. I think I'm just mixed up. Okay, so it's got a little window looking thing there. We don't want to get rid of that. Trying to make it even, and it's trying to dry already. Which is good and bad. It's good because it's going to pick up that paint under it, but it's bad because it's... oh, shouldn't have done that one. Drying a little faster than I want it to. Okay, so let us get a piece of white paper. And man, I cannot get that centered today. And my little brown paper to pick up this corner that I missed. And we have to rub it for a little while. So, oh, it started. It started a new video for me. This is the second half of the other half that we already have on there. So if you're watching this one first, you might want to watch the first half so that you can see what we're picking up. But I'm doing another set of Gelli prints. I'm Elizabeth in my art loft, and this is fun. So we have a very ethereal, I'll say, print from that. Couldn't do that with a paintbrush very easily. That's why you have jelly prints, right? I like that though. Gonna go lay it over to dry. And I think it's time to use some gold again. Gold is always good. I'll pick up that little corner if I can. Nope. Doesn't want to come off of there. Maybe... No, I think maybe I'll use a cinnamon. Cinnamon's kind of a dark reddish brown. It'll be interesting. Maybe I don't want that little blob out there. Get back in there. And we just roll that up in a nice, even, thin layer. Like that. And I made one other stencil. Let me show you that one. It is kind of wonky because it wiggles, but it's just a bunch of lines. So we'll do that. And see if we can get down there evenly. Well, I guess that's how it's going to be. I'm going to put that on top of this because it can't hurt this. And we just want to pick up those lines, and we don't really care if it's perfect or not. But it could be interesting. A little brown piece of paper to pick up that corner. And then not to my liking yet, but it's not finished. It's never finished until I say it's finished. That's the answer, yes. I'm just going to pick up the rest of this with this little brown piece of paper, which is really nice because it's kind of thin and it goes down into the stuff and will pick up almost as well as tracing paper. And there's not a lot to pick up. A little bit, but not much. Okay, so we'll take that off of there. And that's ugly. Ugly stencil, but we don't care about that. That's what they're there for. I'm just cleaning my stencil off on that cute little brown piece of paper that's been so handy. And it was pretty dry.